Did all you guys give your mom a big hug this morning? And wish her happy Mother's Day? If you didn't, after church, why don't you try that out, okay? Okay, today we're going to go back and talk about a different church, and we're going to really zoom in on this date. Do you read that date? Up here, do you read this date? August 3rd, 1909 is a sad day that happened. And anyways, anybody ever see the stone up in the corner of the green? You ever see that stone? You know what used to be there? This big church. That was called St. Peter's Church. And the way that church started is when our church first started, there was 18 families, and back then families sometimes would have 12 kids. They were big families. There was 18 families that got our church started in 1739, and about 6-7 months into the start of our church, 11 families preferred the old way of teaching, the English way, so 11 families broke away from this church. So there were 7 families. But thank God this church continued to grow. And he started St. Peter's. And they had a church down in Thomaston that they stayed in for 50 years. And then they built this church up there on the green. And anyways, back then, some dates here, 1740 was the very first service that they had in this church. And guy's name was Bishop Jarvis. He did the first sermon. And in 1823, they put a bell in the church up in this belfry, way up in the tower. 1828, the first Sunday school class started. 1831, they redid the whole basement inside this church so they could use it like we use our basement, for fellowship and stuff like that, and meetings. And, they did a lot of improvements. In 1888 to 1892, they did a lot more improvements and put a furnace in the church. Now, at that time, this priest, he was 44 years old. He was a very loved priest. He did so much for the kids in the church. And anyways, back then, he got involved, taking a lot of the boys on fishing trips and stuff like this. So on August 3rd, 1909, he took 6 of the boys from the church, and he took the 7th one. He was 15 years old. He used to play the organ in the church. His name was Clarence Blakesley. And I don't know if you remember we talked about Blakesley. That was his uncle that, with the Spencer guns and all that during the war. He was a relative. And they went down to Mystic to go on a little fishing trip. And it was a sailboat, and they got out into the sea. And out in Mystic, sometimes the ocean gets a little crazy. You ever hear of a bow on a ship? A bow holds the sail. So they were out fishing, and a storm came in. And anyways, the bow started swinging back and forth, and it hit Clarence Blakesley and threw him overboard. And so this priest here, Mitchell, knew he didn't know how to swim. So he dove in after him. And he grabbed a hold, and he was yelling to the boys, lower the sail, because the wind was blowing and the boat was drifting further away, and the kids were all panicking, and they didn't do it. So he struggled for probably about 10-15 minutes trying to keep this kid afloat, and had no luck, and they both drowned. So they couldn't get the bodies for about a week later. They had services over here, and he was about the most loved priest in that church. And it's a very, very sad tale about that church. And then 6 years later, something else happened to this church. Anybody have any idea what happened to this church? Burnt down. And Mumpkin, is Ann here today? Well, anyways, Annie's, I don't know if it's her great-great-aunt or whatever. Thank God they wrote a book on St. Peter's Church, because I wouldn't have no information whatsoever or an actual picture. And the quality of the picture is lousy, because back then, that's over 100 years ago. It's the only picture I've hunted everywhere you can make it out of that church burning. That was 1915. So after this church burnt, the stone church across from us they built the church over there. Anyways, that's some sad parts about the history around this church. And in closing, I just want to share this little lesson in life with you guys? Have any of you guys ever got hurt? Yep. You know, there's lots of ways of getting hurt. You can fall off a bike. You can step on glass, or somebody could even shoot you. Somebody could beat you up. You know, there's a lot of things that can hurt you. But you know, the worst weapon that everybody has, you know what that is? It's their mouth. Okay? Your mouth can be the most dangerous weapon that can hurt people so bad that they'll never heal. It's on the words that we say. Now in school, sometimes you don't like the way you say, Johnny, I don't want him on my baseball team. He plays lousy. Or look at Sally. She is so ugly. She got big ears and all that. Or how about Judy over there? She wears these old raggy clothes. Those are bad hate bullets coming out of your mouth. And they stick with people. Or with your grandma and grandpa, or your mom and dad. I hate you, Mom. I don't like you anymore. Those are very bad hate bullets. Okay? In life, try not to use your mouth to fire out hate bullets. Try to fire out love bullets. Because hate can, even in life, grown-ups even do it. Even at work, say, that guy don't know how to do that setup job. Hey, you're stupid. How come I always got to help you and all that? Those are hate bullets. Try not to hurt people in life, because it can really do more damage than getting a cut. Okay? So, dear Lord and Jesus, as we go on through life and grow up, please may we always fire out love bullets to all those around us. People that need your help and all that stuff, please help, that we always try to do the right thing and never hurt people. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus, for everything. Amen.
Amen. George, that was a wonderful talk. I love you, George. We're going to stand and sing hymn number 107, Christ Be My Leader.